AITA for blocking my caring aunt after she said I was ungrateful. I am 28F. People always say family is supposed to be your support system, but mine was complicated from the start. My dad was always very dependent on his youngest sister. She was the successful one in the family, owned a small but stable business, had money, and everyone kind of revolved around her. Growing up, I saw my dad constantly asking her for help, sometimes money, sometimes advice, sometimes just support, and in return I was often told to go help at her store, like it was normal. Even my mom got pulled into it. She worked a full office job, but my aunt would still ask her to run errands or help with random tasks for her business. It was always framed like family help, but it was basically unpaid labor. Back then, I didn't question it much. It just felt like how our family functioned. She wasn't cruel in obvious ways, she was generous too. Gifts, school support sometimes, small financial help here and there, so I grew up being thankful for her. But she also had control. Not loud control, quiet control. Like she always knew what was best for us, and everyone just followed. That part didn't feel wrong at the time. It only started feeling off much later. When I reached high school, things in my family shifted. My dad lost his job, that was a big turning point. After that, my mom became the only one earning steady money. My dad slowly became even more dependent on my aunt again. And my aunt didn't change. If anything, she became more involved in everything. She started influencing decisions in ways I didn't understand at the time. School choices, what I should focus on, what career path I should take. It wasn't direct forcing, it was more like, this is what you should do because I know better. She really wanted me to become a lawyer. At that time, I didn't have a strong direction anyway, so I agreed. I entered law school because of that. And I regretted it deeply later. The experience was honestly traumatizing for me, the pressure, the environment, everything. I was not okay there. I eventually decided to quit. That decision caused a huge shift. My aunt got very angry, not loud at first, but cold disappointment type, the kind that makes you feel like you failed something bigger than yourself. I felt guilty for a long time. Like I wasted her investment in me. Even my cousin, her daughter, was someone I was really close to. We grew up almost like siblings. But after I quit law, things between everyone started feeling different. Still, I stayed in the family structure. Because I didn't know how to step out of it yet. I have 2 younger sisters. They were also part of the same system, helping at my aunt's store whenever needed, doing errands, small tasks, things like that. But I was always the one expected to do more. Probably because I was the eldest. So even when I was busy, even when I was stressed, I was the default person to call. I didn't realize it back then, but I was slowly becoming the reliable helper in the family system. Not really treated like a separate person with my own life. Just someone who steps in when needed. Then everything changed again when I finally got a good job. It felt like I was finally getting out of survival mode. I started building my own life, my own routine, my own income. At the same time, my dad's health started declining. It happened slowly at first, then faster than we expected. He became weaker, more dependent, and eventually passed away. That period broke our family in a different way. We were grieving, adjusting, trying to stay stable. But my aunt was still involved in our lives. And that's when things took a darker turn. After my dad passed, my aunt brought up something I didn't expect. Debts. She said my dad had unpaid debts tied to family obligations. Then she said she wanted to settle it by taking our land. Specifically, my father's share of our family land. She framed it like it was a practical solution. Like it was just how things should be resolved. This wasn't the first time she did something like that. She had done similar arrangements with another relative before who also had debts. But this time it was our side. I actually looked into it quietly. And from what I could tell, the debt amount didn't even feel equal to the value of the land being asked for. So I refused. Not aggressively, just a firm no. That's when everything shifted. The tone changed completely. She got upset. Not just disappointed this time, but angry. And suddenly the word ungrateful started getting thrown around. After everything she had done for us over the years. And that's where things started falling apart faster than I expected. After I refused, things escalated in a way I didn't fully anticipate. My aunt started saying we had changed now that we were independent and earning money. That we forgot where we came from. That we were ungrateful for everything she had done for our family. The same support she had given over the years was now being used against us. At the same time, she started messaging my younger sister repeatedly. Not casual messages, persistent ones, pressure-type messages. She also started talking about us to other relatives, twisting the situation in ways that made it look like we were the problem for not agreeing to her request. My cousin, who I used to be really close with, started getting distant too. It felt like she was stuck in the middle. Eventually, even we stopped talking properly. Not out of anger, more out of awkwardness and exhaustion. At that point, I made the decision to block my aunt completely. No announcement, no explanation. Just silence. And that's when people started reacting. Calling me disrespectful, ungrateful, emotional. Saying I was destroying family ties over one disagreement. But from my side, it didn't feel like one disagreement. It felt like years of control finally snapping. And now everything is unstable again. And I still haven't told the full story to most people yet. After I blocked her, I thought things would just calm down. It didn't. It actually got worse. My younger sisters started getting messages from relatives asking why I suddenly changed. Some were polite, but most were already biased because my aunt was the one talking first. The narrative was already being built without me. That I was arrogant now, that I was forgetting who helped us, that I was the reason the family was breaking apart. No one was talking about how long we were being pulled into unpaid work. No one was talking about how my mom was still being treated like extra help even while working full-time. And definitely no one was talking about how the land issue wasn't just emotional, it was financial and legal. Just me being ungrateful. What hurt more was my cousin slowly disappearing from contact. We didn't fight, we didn't have a final conversation. It just became longer replies, then shorter replies, then nothing. Like we were both trying not to pick sides, but silence itself became a side. I kept thinking maybe I overreacted. Maybe blocking was too harsh. But then something happened that made me realize I wasn't crazy for stepping back. And it involved my aunt escalating things further. My aunt didn't stop at family messaging. She started going around relatives more aggressively. She framed the situation like I was trying to steal the land by refusing her solution. That wording spread fast. It turned a refusal into a character attack. Then I found out she also approached another relative who had gone through something similar before. That relative confirmed something important. This wasn't new behavior from her. She had done the same debt for land arrangement in another branch of the family before. And it also caused tension there, but people just stayed quiet because she was financially stable and influential. That changed my perspective completely. This wasn't just a misunderstanding between us. It was a pattern. Meanwhile, my dad's side of the family stayed mostly silent. Not supportive, not against me. Just silent. And silence felt like abandonment in its own way. But I still didn't respond publicly. I just kept everything documented quietly. Because I had a feeling things weren't done escalating yet. And I was right. Because the next thing she did was personal. She started contacting my sisters directly more frequently. Not just messages about the land anymore. Now it was emotional pressure. talking about family loyalty, talking about respect, talking about how elders are being pushed away. My sisters were getting stressed, confused, and caught in the middle. One of them asked me if I could just talk to her again to stop the drama. That moment really hurt, because I realized I wasn't just dealing with conflict anymore. I was dealing with division inside my own household. My mom stayed quiet through all of it, but I could see she was exhausted. Working, grieving, and now being pulled back into old family expectations. Then my cousin reached out once. Not a proper conversation. Just a short message that felt like she was torn. And then she stopped again. That was the last time I heard from her directly. After that, I found out my aunt had been telling relatives that I used my father's death as an excuse to take control of property. That was the point where I stopped feeling guilty. Because at that point, it wasn't about disagreement anymore. It was about control and narrative. And I was no longer part of her version of the story. So I stopped trying to explain myself to people who already decided who I was. But things still weren't finished. Because the land issue was about to come up again in a more serious way. A formal discussion was suddenly arranged through extended family. Not legal yet, but structured like a mediation attempt. My aunt pushed for it. She still wanted the land settled as part of debt resolution. This time I didn't go alone. I went with basic documents and clarity about the situation. And for the first time I noticed something shift. Some relatives who were previously neutral started questioning the fairness of the request. Because when it was laid out properly, the debt amount and land value didn't match the way it was being presented emotionally. My aunt didn't react well. She shifted back to the same argument. That she supported us for years. That she invested in us. That we owed her loyalty. But it no longer landed the same way. Not with everyone watching it more clearly. Still, nothing was resolved. The meeting ended unresolved, tense, and messy. And after that, things got quieter. But quiet in this situation usually means something is being prepared in the background. And I was right again. Because the final confrontation wasn't in a meeting. It was in how the family started splitting after it. After everything, the family didn't fully break loudly. It split quietly. Some relatives stayed with my aunt out of loyalty and history. Some started slowly distancing from her after seeing the land issue more clearly. My cousin completely stopped contacting me. And I don't even blame her anymore. I think she got stuck in the middle of something she didn't create. As for us, my mom, my sisters, and I are still together and stable. It's quieter now. Less pressure, less forced involvement in things we never fully agreed to. We kept the land. Not because we wanted conflict, but because giving it up didn't feel like resolution. It felt like erasing what my father built for us. My aunt still calls us ungrateful through relatives sometimes. But it doesn't hit the same anymore. Because I can see now that ungrateful was just the word used when we stopped complying. People still ask if I was the asshole for blocking her. And honestly, I don't know how to answer in a way that makes everyone happy. But I know one thing. If setting boundaries after years of being controlled makes me the villain in some people's story, then I'm okay being the villain in that version. Because my life is finally not being written by someone else anymore.